Yes, come in, dear. Yep, have a seat, get comfortable. Can I have your name? And your last name? Okay, and you're from Mrs. Smith's class, correct? Alright. Okay. Alright, my dear. So we are just going to be doing a routine lice check. No, there's nothing to be worried about. We are sending every student from every classroom. We're just going to be doing a brief scalp check. I'm going to go through your hair and I'm going to check for lice and anything else that might be worrisome. No, you don't. It's not going to be painful. There is absolutely nothing to worry about. It's not going to hurt. It's going to kind of feel like you're getting your hair brushed because that's mostly what it is. Lots of hair brushing. Yeah, so I'm just going to part your hair and I'm going to just take a little look, okay? Yeah, like I said, it's not painful. There's no pain. It's going to be pretty simple, okay? All right, you ready? Get started? Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm just going to start by giving your hair a little brush so that there's no knots when I try to separate it, okay? Okay. Just want to make sure all of the knots are gone. I want to use the brush because the lice comb is a very fine tooth comb. So I want to make sure that all your knots are gone because then it's going to pull your hair and then that part is going to hurt and I don't want that for you. Alright. Alright, okay. That should be good. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to separate your hair and I'm going to part it and then I'm going to start my search, okay? Alright. So I have just a comb that has a pointy end to part your hair and I have just a clip that's going to hold your hair back, okay? Alright. So I'm going to search the top section. So I'm mostly going to look at your scalp versus the ends of your hair. So lice, they like warm areas to hang out. And the ends of your hair aren't as warm as your scalp would be because your head is giving it its warmth. So I'm going to focus on your scalp area and pretty much check this top area because if they're in this particular area, then they're everywhere, right? Okay, so we're going to be looking for two different things, okay? We're going to be looking for the actual bugs themselves, which are tiny little black bugs, and then we are also going to be looking for their eggs, which can be presented as like little white specks that are attached very tightly to the hair. They can be missed very, very easily, and that's part of the reason why the lice comb is so fine-toothed. I'm not sure what the past tense word for that is, if there is, but it is that way because it needs to be able to get the eggs off of the hair. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do some separation, and then after we do some separation, we're going to start our search, okay? All right, perfect. Okay, so we're going to do 2 bigger sections. So I'm going to just part it like this. Should be an adequate section for us to test on this side. So what I'm going to do while I go to part the other side is I am going to clip this. So I'm just gonna, now that I've parted it, I'm just gonna do a little twist. And then I am going to take my clip and I am just going to clip that like that. And then I'm going to take this hair and I am going to just stick it in a ponytail just to keep it out of the way. And now I'm just going to repeat the process on this side. I'm going to separate a section of hair and then we're going to go from there, okay? Okay, we're going to separate. I'm going to add it to this top section here quick. Okay, and then I'm going to take the remaining hair again and we're going to put it in one big ponytail. Just so the hair doesn't keep getting tangled in with this searched hair, you know, I don't want to have to keep parting and keep getting it all mixed in what I have searched and what I haven't searched. So the easiest thing for me to do is just to throw the hair in a little ponytail quick. Okay, so that should be perfect. Okay, so now this is the hair that I am going to be searching. Okay. And we're going to go by it in smaller sections, okay? So we're not going to just look because I don't want to miss things. So before we get started, like I said, I am going to part it into slightly smaller sections. But while I do that, I just wanted to ask you just a few questions before I really start my in-depth search. Have you noticed any itching, any excess itching? Okay. Now, would you say that itching is all over, or is it limited to one particular spot? Okay. Okay, so not all over. Okay. Okay. And obviously this is a super important question. Have you noticed any of the bugs yourself while brushing your hair, combing it, anything like that? Anything kind of falling onto your pillow? Anything? No? Okay. Okay. Have you noticed any of the other kids itching? Anything like that? No? Okay. Nope, that's perfect. Like I said, this is just routine. We haven't had any outbreaks or anything like that. So I'm not particularly looking for anything. This is just to make sure that we can stay on top of things. Okay? Alright, so now what I am going to do is I am going to use my lice comb. Like I said, it is a more fine-tooth comb. It's got barely any space through it. So this in particular will really help me be able to see if there's anything, okay? Alright, nope, it shouldn't hurt. Like I said, we comb through a lot of your hair, and I'm going to be working in smaller sections. So any knots will come out fairly easy that are remaining. And like I said, it'll really give me a chance to be able to see what's here. Okay? Alright. take this and clip this back up to keep that separated. And then I'm just gonna take, I have these, they're kind of like Velcro for your hair, but you just gotta stick it in, and I'm just gonna use this to separate the hair that's already been done. So just quick little boop, and you see how that's stuck in there? Perfect. Okay. Gonna give this a little brush. Okay. Do you have any product in your hair? Any gel or hairspray? Leave-in conditioner, anything like that? Well, sometimes it can leave a little bit of a residue, which can come off slightly as eggs. So I want to make sure that you don't actually have product in your hair before I say that I'm finding eggs. Okay? And when was the last time you washed your hair? Okay. So it could be the gel or hairspray. Okay. I am just going to add this to the ponytail, the searched hair. Just work it into the ponytail. Okay. Okay. Once again, we're going to give it a little comb through. Get all the knots out. Okay. I'm gonna add this back into the ponytail. Can't tell if it's your hair or my hair. Okay. Okay. Separate another section. There we go, just like that. Put this one on that side. I'll clip this back up real nice. Just a little bit. We are halfway done. Yeah, the second section now to check. Okay. Oh, hang in there. You're doing wonderful. Okay. Okay. I've got 2 more sections. Yep, that's all. Almost done. You're doing fantastic. Alright, let me divide this up now. Perfect. Get any knots out. Alright. we're on the last section. Okay. From this section, constantly going in little buns. It's got some knots again. I just want to make sure they're all out so that it doesn't hurt you. All right. All right, my dear. So the verdict is in, and you are all in the clear. There does not seem to be any lice or their eggs present, which means you are completely good to go. Before you head back to class, I'm just going to fix your hair back up. I want to make sure it looks good for you. Nope, I didn't notice any particular issues. One of the things that I would say maybe to get checked out is a slightly better shampoo. Like I said, there was some residue left, I could tell, from gel and hairspray, and you don't want that sitting on your scalp or your hair. So maybe look into a different shampoo, okay? Yeah. I'm just gonna comb any knots out real quick. I don't want to send you back to class looking like you took a nap. Alright. Let me get my brush. Alright, let me just make sure everything looks good. Well, I messed up your hair, so I have to be the one that fixes it. Alright, my dear, it looks like you are all back to perfect. You can head back to class and you can tell Mrs. Smith to send the next student, okay? Alright, perfect. Have a great day.